The Holdovers is from director Alexander Payne, the mind behind Sideways and The Descendants, and written by David Hemmingson, who wrote for Blackish, Just Shoot Me, and How I Met Your Mother. Yeah, this feels more like an Alexander Payne movie than a David Hemmingson movie. It takes place over winter break at a boarding school in the early 70s, focusing on the students who couldn't come home for the holidays and have to stay at the school. And they're supervised by a strict and mean professor played by Paul Giamatti, who pretty much hates every one of them. Opens a little like The Breakfast Club, with some of these students actually talking with each other, but they don't really get the chance to truly come together because this movie isn't about most of them. It's about Paul Giamatti and his most troublesome student, played by an actor named Dominic Sisa. And they end up spending a lot of time together, and the student becomes more humanized and basically turns Giamatti into less of a terrible person. This is filmed to look like a movie from the era it takes place in. The grain in the picture becomes noticeable once you've seen 15 to 30 minutes of trailers that were shot with modern cameras. The opening and closing credits have that older feel to them. It even opens with an old-looking rating screen, to tell people what they probably should have looked up before buying the kids a ticket. And the 70s style version of the opening logos. This movie's from Focus Features and Miramax. Were any of those even around in the 70s? No, they weren't. These logos must have been custom made for this movie. A few days before I saw it, I sent a thread loosely about the release of the Grindhouse trailer-inspired Thanksgiving that mentions that I wish I could have seen Grindhouse or something similar in the theaters. And just like that, a Thanksgiving miracle. I got something that's as close as I'll ever be. If only I had known, I would have seen it in a theater without reclining seats to fully recreate the experience. Just because the trailer has a throwback vibe doesn't mean I should know that the movie will actually look like that. But once you get used to the style and don't even notice it anymore, is it still good? Oh yes, this is one of the best movies of the year. It's a great comedy drama. It has a little bit of laughs and a lot of emotion, especially near the end. The characters are very flawed, but eventually they grow on you. They are very developed and well written, and the performances are top notch. It takes place during the holiday season, and it may actually sort of be a Christmas movie. I mean, there's a huge Christmas ornament on the poster. I don't know if the Christmas movie label is really that accurate. For most Christmas movies, the whole thing takes place during the season, and maybe it all leads up to something that happens at Christmas. But in this movie, Christmas passes by maybe halfway through and New Year's maybe 2/3 of the way. But it still has that Christmas spirit. It's about putting aside differences and coming together. And it just happens to take place during the holidays. Paul Giamatti is pretty much the perfect Scrooge character. This is probably going to be the Christmas movie of the year for theaters. The only other one I know of that's getting a theatrical release is Silent Night, which doesn't look like it's going to have that much Christmas spirit. No disrespect, I still want to see that. John Woo for the win. But this is something else. Fine, since it's rated R, it's probably not the one to take the kids to. But other than that, it's the closest you can get to getting the spirit. Once again, it's one of the best movies of the year. A story that's both uplifting and a little depressing, but it's effective. The characters are great to be around, and their emotional journeys are captivating. You probably wouldn't mind being held over with them.
Candy store, just in case you want a taste of something sweet.
Our popcorn is nutritious, you will find it delicious.
Most anything that you would care to eat. Cooling drinks that are so grand, simply name your favorite brand. Or some ice cream so good and helpful too. If you feel you need nutrition, now's the time, it's intermission. Step right up, we have the very best for you.
You can smile America with Chuck E. Cheese. You can get a taste of pizza time theater with Chuck E. Cheese. Food and games and all kinds of features. For a taste of pizza time theater, you can smile America. Smile America. Smile, smile, smile. You can smile America with Chuck E. Cheese.
Five Nights at Freddy's has a lot to live up to now. Come on, act like you aren't a dead fad game. So yeah, I'm an idiot. Five Nights at Freddy's, in both theaters and on Peacock, so I can't really tell if this is a streaming review or not. Either way, it's from director Emma Tammy, based on the indie video game that quickly became a phenomenon online years ago. She also wrote the screenplay along with Seth Cuddleback and the game's creator himself, Seth Cawthon, based on the screen story written by Cawthon, Chris Lee Hill, and Tyler McIntyre. coming to us after a development so long that no less than 2 high-profile ripoffs were able to beat it to the screen. Disclaimer, I have never played the games. I saw parts of videos of people playing it, but that's about it. I don't know shit about the lore or whatever, which is apparently a big thing since I heard a lot of this movie's defenders say that it's more for the fans. It includes cameos from YouTubers who've discussed the games and even plays a popular fan song over the credits. As a non-fan, my feelings on it are pretty mixed. First off, the story. Pretty similar to the games. Josh Hutcherson gets a job as a night guard for Freddy Fazbear's, an old Chuck E. Cheese ripoff where the animatronics come to life at night and do bad things. Although they're not really as much of a danger as in the games. For like the first few nights or so, he's able to literally sleep through his shift with no problems whatsoever. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, the good. The atmosphere is pretty creepy, and the animatronics are also pretty interesting while on screen. They appear to be very true to the games. They rest on the line between creepy and nice to look at. And when they actually get to be horror villains and kill people, it's among the high points of the movie. But unfortunately, even then, it feels a little toned down. It's rated PG-13 and is targeted to the kids who like the game, and I appreciate the fact that it wants to be Baby's first real horror film, and from what I've seen, the game doesn't appear to be violent either, but this is not like the game. The game was more psychological and scary. Yes, it has the jump scares and all, which might have played a part in me not playing it because I hate jump scares, but from what I've seen, the real scary stuff comes from simply seeing the animatronics inching closer. This does not have that kind of tension, or surprisingly, any scene that resembles gameplay. There aren't a lot of really scary parts, but what they have is more in the sense of a slasher type thing, which isn't that scary, but it could be entertaining. The only problem with that is that the kills are so toned down. For as much flack Megan gets for feeling toned down, I think most of the time it did a decent enough job of not making it feel too bad for most of the kills. The same could not be said for Five Nights at Freddy's. There are a couple scenes where it feels like we actually see them kill, but the vast majority of it happens off screen. Probably the worst example is this one character who's pretty much the least likable person in the movie, almost cartoonishly bad. So you look at her and think, oh, she's gonna get killed and it's gonna be like the death that's supposed to be fun and cathartic seeing her get what's coming to her. But no, she has probably the most off-screen death in the entire movie, and it's not even remotely cathartic. One moment she's here, the next scene she's dead. Like, at least give us like a reaction shot of her coming face to face with the killer. Is that too much for the PG-13 rating to handle? I also get the feeling that the animatronics were scarier in the games as well.
I like it in here.
I'm not sure how to feel about stuff like this. Like, on one hand, it's cute and all, but on the other, isn't this a horror movie? Didn't one of them just bite a girl in half? Also, the story isn't really that great either. Like I said, the animatronics are the best part, but what happens between the scenes with them aren't really as interesting. There's a subplot with Josh Hutcherson trying to find out what happened to his brother by lucid dreaming or something, and it's pretty lame. I don't really care about it, and it culminates with him doing something pretty unforgivable. Even if he does try to go back on it, how am I supposed to be on his side again? And the ending is a little confusing. Maybe it's because of me not knowing anything about the lore, but I don't understand the answers they gave us about why Freddy and his friends were doing this stuff. When a character explains that she uses the word somehow, and the fact that that somehow is never explained feels more lazy than ambiguous. Actually, I read a short online article on the lore afterward and didn't really see anything about whatever's going on here, so I'm feeling like my lack of knowledge might not be the issue here. Despite all of this, it's at least enjoyable at its high points when it's willing to be scary and kill people off. Is it more for the kids? Maybe, but they'll probably like it, and it's not too scary for them, and somewhat entertaining for the older horror fans like me. This is the second best Gen Z targeted Blumhouse killer robot movie of the year. I don't know if it's good, but video game movies have been way worse.